Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to walk you through and talk about what is a bare metal, right? You might have seen and you might have an understanding and clarity about this as well, but this is something which is also being utilized in many organizations and many use cases. And the companies which are also talking about and they wanted to make sure they are going to leverage cloud plus bare metal together, and not only cloud or not only bare metal, but they wanted to also do the resilience between on-premises and cloud and different scenarios and different situations, right? So I'm going to walk you through and decode all of that in this video so that you can understand what is bare metal as well as whether the companies are going to rely on bare metal or cloud or whatever it is, right? Also, it totally depends on the use cases and scenarios, right? So that's something which is going to be taken by the business decisions on it, right? So let's go ahead and I'll walk you through on this one. So let me share my screen quickly, and that's going to be the presentation to let you understand how it is going to be helpful and how you are going to uh, explore and move ahead with the different options on it. All right, so let me share my screen here. Perfect. So here you can see bare metal, right? Now, when it comes to a bare metal or when it is called as bare metal, that means maybe uh, you might be thinking, okay, what is bare metal exactly, or how it is going to help us in the cost saving use, what are the different use cases and strategies, and how it is been beneficial with the public cloud, right? Now, there are different strategies, different ways and different options to leverage both together, including bare metal and public cloud, or maybe either depending on the public cloud or bare metal, right? And vice versa. So that's going to be depending on all of that situations, right? So let's go ahead and take it ahead. So first, let's understand what is bare metal. So what is bare metal? It's going to be a physical server without virtualization layer, right? So this is going to be in-house or own data center. You can see there are different deployment methods or models, we can say. Co-location, which is of course a third-party data center, which is going to be maybe any data center provider or any company who do provide the specific capacity or specific racking and stacking and allocation of systems altogether in their respective data center. But it also gives us direct access to CPUs, RAM storage, and networking on that respective physical servers, not the virtualized one, right? Or it bare metal itself is not a virtualized environment, or there is no virtualized layer at all, right? And that is why it is also called as a bare metal one, right? Because we got to get everything in hand, in control, right? So that whatever we wanted to do, we can go ahead and do it on our own or respective business, in short, right? And the very important part of this is the deployment models, including on-premises, which is of course our own data center, co-location. It's of course with the third-party providers, like maybe there are so many data center providers in India as well as the global locations, and those companies would allow us and give their data center services to the companies or businesses. And there are some of the companies which are providing bare metal as a service, right? So even that is also possible and available for the businesses to leverage that service for the business purposes, right? So these are the three deployment models. And to understand in simple what is bare metal, you need to understand it is without virtualization or without virtual layer. Let's talk about how it works, right? So hardware is going to be dedicated to you as an organization, right? As it's a physical server, that means everything is going to be provided to you for your whole business, right? There is no multi-tenancy, no hypervisor attacks. It is going to be installed on the own operating system that is going to be, of course, customizable or customized, right? So depending on the requirement, that is possible to build our own customized operating systems, and then that is going to be provided as is or as and when needed. No hypervisor or Kubernetes, we can simply prepare the right set of operating systems and underlying infrastructure, and that's going to be provided. The next one is the API-driven provisioning for bare metal as a service providers, right? So those providers who are providing bare metal as a service, they do provide all of that capability using APIs and all of that capacities, including. So basically, it is going to be behind the scenes into the data center, but the capacities and access levels and everything together is going to be the API driven provisioning, right? So that's how it is going to be the way we are accessing and utilizing the cloud services today. Now, there would be a question, when do we use it or why do we need it, right? So definitely there are different benefits, different requirements, including compliance, security, and data movement and everything together. So you can understand it from this way, which is stable, predictable workloads. So these are the scenarios where this is going to be utilized, including high performance computing, along with AIML or HPC. These are the few one, but definitely there would be a lot many different use cases where we would end up utilizing bare metal, right? And the real example and scenarios I would say about the BFSI, which is banking and financial domains, right, including insurance, and those companies which cannot afford a single second or 1 minute of downtime at all, they do definitely need a capable of hardware and systems which is going to be up and running 24/7, right? So that is how it is going to be, and from the different compliance and regulatory perspective as well, where company wanted to save licensing cost on different applications. They wanted to make sure data is in house instead of putting it in public cloud, and they wanted to meet compliance and regulatory requirements for that respective geolocations, be it GDPR, HIPAA, high trust, or any other, right? And the cost predictability, right? That is also one of the factor where companies would end up utilizing bare metal, right? They wanted to make sure the cost is controlled and manage it in house instead of relying on some other party, right? Other party including basis on their needs and requirements again, right? So if we are going into the cloud, that means cloud is giving us a flexibility into the provisioning and managing everything, but into the on-premises or into the our own bare metal systems altogether, definitely it's also going to give us a cost control, but there would be some of the capacities that might not be allowing us to scale and performance efficient systems, right? So there are definitely pros and cons to it, but definitely bare metal is going to be something that is also being used on scenarios. Why use bare metal again, right? So raw performance, as I said, there is no virtualization. That means everything is going to be coming from the respective hardware itself, right? For example, the virtualized system needs the underlying infrastructure or underlying layer, which needs to be a strong, and that's the foundation for it. Because of that, virtualization or virtual system is going to work. But if we don't have that one, that means we are going to get the raw performance of that system, and that's going to be better than virtualization or virtual system, because if the underlying infrastructure or hardware is capable enough, right? So that is why we need to make sure hardware capacity or hardware capable or hardware should be that enough capable to handle that workload, right? Also on the predictable monthly or annually cost, it is going to definitely give us that prediction how much we are going to cost on monthly wise or month wise as well as annually, so that we get to see and understand how much we are going to spend and whether that is going to be fixed cost or variable cost or whatever it is, where we also get to see and we can do the hardware customization, security and compliance, that is also there too, because everything is going to be built in house, so that we are going to put different controls from security and compliance point of view, and the cost efficiency. So there is no tax on the cloud side, or a kind of cloud tax in short, right? So whatever the cost is going to be there, it is going to be based on the hardware and the complete management of the systems altogether, right? So that is also another reason companies are going to utilize this one as well. The next, scenarios and use cases, right? So these are the scenarios and use cases where we or the companies would use bare metal systems, right? Starting from databases, AIML to train the GPUs, with the GPUs to train the modules and systems altogether, media streaming and rendering the data and systems, SPC workloads, analytics and big data, enterprise applications, and hybrid cloud-based line workloads, right? So these are some of the scenarios and use cases I do see, and many organizations are using for different requirements, basically. But it is also very important to know and understand, as I said, if there are different requirements from the security compliance and regulations perspective, along with the data sovereignty as well, right? Definitely companies and businesses would do that investment and use bare metal, and instead of going for the cloud, or maybe they would be situations where they wanted to rely on cloud as well as bare metal, right? So definitely that's going to be something they would keep using. Deployment strategies for this: on premises, which is a complete on premises infrastructure, right? Then second is co-location bare metal. That means that is something is in someone else's data center, and that we would allocate some of the space, including racking and stacking and all other different capabilities that we would leverage it for our business, right? Bare metal as a service, that's a pure uh, or similar to the cloud-based services that we can see. And the hybrid strategy, which includes bare metal plus cloud together, right? So that's going to allow us to utilize both scenarios, bare metal and cloud, so that we are going to leverage it for the business and systems altogether. And the last one is multi-cloud optimization, right? So this is something when we have bare metal plus multiple cloud providers, even that is also going to be one of the strategies for us to leverage for different perspective, from data, from optimization, from analytics, and any other scenario, right? So it depends on the use cases again and needs of the organization together. And the cost savings versus public cloud, right? You can see that this is something many organizations would look into it, right? Why? Because if we are going to end up spending a lot of money on the licensing and cloud services and everything, that means they would think about whether we should keep using cloud or we should simply move back to the on-premises or use something, a kind of bare metal systems or services, right? So you can see the 30 to 60% saving on different cloud providers. That is possible, but it is not 100% or 100% possible on a different use cases, right? Why I say use cases? Because if company has or the business has a different systems that they need flexibility, or maybe they wanted to meet the particular requirement, then only they would think about the on-premises or bare metal capacity instead of going for public cloud, like regulations, right? Like the data sovereignty, they cannot or they don't wanted to put their data and systems into the cloud. Instead, they wanted to bring it back to the on-premises and leverage it from there, right? So those are the scenarios, and those would help them to save cost as well, right? So as there is no hypervisor or management overhead, no egress markups often, which is going to be a flat rate for bandwidths and everything, and higher utilization efficiency, whatever we are going to maybe spin up, and everything is going to be built in-house. And the licensing flexibility, which is going to be bring your own license and predictable contracts, right? So that's going to be something, whatever the services or systems that we are going to leverage, that's going to be, of course, be utilized for the same, right? So that's how it is going to be. And so in short, you can see the bare metal, including performance, predictability, and control, right? Which is going to be in-house completely. And cloud is going to be agility, innovation, managed services. And on the FinOps side, where you can see the in the hybrid context, best of both worlds, including bare metal and cloud. So into the bare metal is going to be stable workloads, and into the cloud is going to be spiky or innovative workloads, right? So that way it is going to be leveraged and utilized, right? So yep, that is what I wanted to show you and walk you through and make you understand about bare metal and its use cases, how it is going to be leveraged and utilized for different scenarios, and why companies would utilize bare metal, and what are the different scenarios and situations as well, right? So yep, that is what I wanted to show you and talk about. Hope you learned something about news or about the bare metal, right? So yep, don't forget to like this video, share it to your friends and people around you so that they can also learn about it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well, right? So that's all. Thanks for watching and bye for now.